From the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia, this is CampusLore Live presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. I'm Drew Butler, joined as always by Aaron Murray. Special guest this week, Atlanta Falcons running back and Southern Miss alumni, Ito Smith. Ito, thanks so much for being here. This is an awesome spot, awesome venue. If you're in Atlanta, Georgia, be sure to check out the College Football Hall of Fame. You are not going to want to miss it. First things first, fourth-round draft pick this year for the Atlanta Falcons. How's your transition going to the NFL?
Oh, man, it's going really well. I got great coaches, great teammates. Coleman and Freeman, they help me out whenever I need help. I got questions or anything. They're there to help me, like big brothers to me. Just ready to get out this week and try to get that sour taste out of my mouth and go out there and get a win.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, the Atlanta Falcons have high hopes heading into the 2018 season. Coming from a school like Southern Mississippi in the Conference USA, now sitting in an offensive room with an NFL MVP in Matt Ryan, one of the best wide receivers in the league in Julio Jones. You mentioned guys like Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Pretty special, right? Have you had that welcome to the NFL moment yet?
Probably my first, the Philadelphia Eagles game. Man, we went out there on the field. It was just energetic. It was lit, man. It was crazy. You know, they just had won the Super Bowl, so their first game back, they had their rings, ceremony and stuff. So not the ceremony, but just the first game back.
Yeah, celebration.
Home game back since the Super Bowl. So it was crazy.
Absolutely. I'm sure, Aaron, the Falcons want to get back to the Super Bowl this year. And speaking of winning and establishing a winning program, you know, coming from Southern Miss, you guys didn't necessarily have the best start in the early 2010s, but when you guys graduated just last year, you restored Southern Mississippi back into that kind of winning program. What was that entire process like?
Just a lot of hard work. We always knew we were very close, so we just had to buy into the little things the coaches were teaching us about. If we needed to break a route off at 6, break it off at 6. We need to have our eyes on our read when we get the ball at running back, then that's where our eyes need to be, just little things like that, and just fine-tuning and making sure that we had all our ducks in a row.
It does seem like everybody that we've talked to mentions the little things, and you being a successful quarterback in college, you can talk about that. I mean, the little things make a big difference, there's no doubt.
Well, we talk about with a receiver running the right route and the right distance. If I'm a quarterback, everything is on timing. If I take a 3-step drop, my timing is in rhythm with the receiver. Usually it's a 10-plus yard route for those guys. If I'm taking a 1-step drop in the pocket, then it's usually a quick hitch, a 5-yard out, a slant, something in the flats. Everything is timing, and everything, the higher you go up from college to NFL, we talk about the windows get smaller, the game gets faster, and that's when you have to be more precise. Because if I take 1 step and I expect you to run a 3-step slant and you run 5 steps instead of 3, interception, I'm late, the linebacker's going to see my eyes, he's going to pick it off because I'm going to hold on to the ball just a split second longer than what I was supposed to do. It's the little stuff, it's the details. You said it perfect. That's what makes a team a good team, and that's what makes a team a great team if you follow those details.
How about you now in the NFL, just having been at Southern Miss and in the Conference USA just a year ago? Has the game started to slow down a little bit? Did you have to get used to the speed of the game when you first came in during OTAs and training camp?
Oh yeah, definitely. The coaches, they were on me, Coach Quinn, Sark. Hey, you gotta be more urgent because when the game comes, it's gonna be like that. The play is gonna be very fast. So the guys, they're way faster in the NFL. So when you get the ball, you just gotta go all gas.
What would you say the best advice that you've been given by one of those veteran guys? A Matt Ryan, a Julio, a Devontae. What is something that they have told you so far, just when we were only 4 weeks into the season, that has really stuck with you and helped you out up to this point?
Freeman told me, he was like just being available, because week in, week out, guys are getting hurt. So just taking care of your body, man. Eating the right things, day off, going in for treatment, getting rehab, getting what you got something that's hurting, just going in and getting making sure your body's right from Sunday.
Yeah, when I was in the NFL, they always used to say the best ability is availability. So Devontae Freeman is certainly
Were
right
you,
in
were
that
you
aspect.
getting in there on a Monday?
I think hot tub, cold tub.
Punters were out golfing on Mondays,
You got to be there.
They're
though.
doing that during
They weren't
practice.
going into the
I
facility
mean, you
on
saw
Mondays.
the dude at Wake Forest. He wasn't even on the field
No,
when they
he
tried
wasn't
to call
ready
a
to
field
go.
goal.
The guy's looking, and he's like, we need a kicker. Where's
was
my
too
kicker
funny.
at?
Yeah,
He's out there flirting with the cheerleaders just like every other kicker and punter.
I bet Wake Forest kicker is going to have a pretty interesting nickname inside the locker room this week, one that we most likely would not be able to repeat on air. But you have a very unique name, and Ito, I'm guessing, is a nickname. You want to tell us what the background on that is?
All right, the name Ito, I got it because I was born September 11th. It was during the O.J. Simpson trial in '95. And my cousin, she was about 4 at the time. She had been watching the trial with her grandmother. And she comes to the hospital, and she sees me. She says, "Hey, that baby looks like that judge off TV, Judge Ito." So that's how I got the name, and it's stuck ever since.
So that's how you got the name from
it's stuck.
Judge Ito in the O.J. Simpson trial.
Yeah, man.
Did you think O.J. did it or no? I'm just kidding. We're not on no question. No worries. All
And
right.
it's all
You can believe whatever you want to believe. Certainly, I'm not going to pick that for our Believe It segment. This is Believe It, where we state what we believe to be true in college football. Believe It is presented by Geico. You won't believe how easy it is to switch and save hundreds on car insurance with Geico. Believe it. All right, usually I go first here, but Aaron, I'm giving you the floor. What do you believe to be true in college football right
I
now?
believe that Justin Herbert, quarterback for Oregon, is a top 5 pick next year in the draft. He finally got to show his skills. National TV, everyone was watching. I mean, it was the biggest game of the weekend, Oregon versus Stanford, and he played lights out versus a very good Stanford defense. So I was impressed. I mean, he has everything you want. 6'6", 240, rocket arm. He's accurate, extremely mobile. The only thing that concerns me is, can he take a snap under center? I mean, that's going to be the big question mark. They didn't do it at the inch-yard line to really win that football game, but he is everything you could dream of what you want a starting quarterback to be in college and then in the NFL. So I believe he's going to be a stud at that next level.
What do you believe to be true in college football right now?
This week, Southern Miss playing Auburn. I think Southern Miss going to go out there and get the dub, man,
All
for
right.
the upset.
There you go. I like that. I certainly like that. Okay, what I believe to be true in college football, believe it when I say this, Aaron, the Pac-12 is going to have a team in the college football playoff this year. I'm not sold on Oklahoma. They had to use overtime to beat Army. Didn't look too good just 2 weeks prior against Iowa State. Stanford looks really good, okay? They did not play their best game at Oregon, a very hostile environment, but they get away with the W. They can afford to lose to Notre Dame this weekend and still run the table. They'd have to beat Washington and then win the Pac-12 championship game. But I think Stanford has a real shot to be in the college football playoff at the end of the season.
You're saying, let's just name off right now, Ohio State,
Yes.
Clemson.
Ohio State might lose this weekend to Penn State.
Ohio State, Clemson,
Clemson has a good
Alabama,
shot. Yeah, probably two from the SEC again.
and 2 from the SEC.
Yeah.
So you're saying
I'm telling you right now that
who's going to be out of it, Ohio State or Clemson?
I would have to say Ohio State because
Okay.
Ohio State could slip up in the Big Ten championship game. Clemson has zero competition in the ACC.
Yep.
I'm not sold on the Big Ten like you were 4 weeks ago when this first thing started.
Oh,
but
Big
I
Ten
can
has
tell
let me
you,
down.
I can tell you right now that Stanford has a clear path to the college football playoff, and they're certainly playing like it. So we'll see. We'll talk about that Stanford-Oregon game here in a minute, but what happened on the football field last week was certainly memorable, and Old Dominion from Conference USA, takes
USA.
on Virginia Tech, a top 25 team, and they beat them. And not only beat them, they beat them by 14 points there, 49-35. Blake LaRussa, their quarterback, he'll be remembered forever.
Oh, yeah, his game, 4 touchdowns. I mean, let's remember, this is Virginia Tech, who's known as a great football team, great defensive football team specifically.
Yeah.
And they were atrocious defensively.
Most
I mean,
points ever scored against Bud Foster's.
Mike, big question. I mean, obviously, I was surprised the game wasn't at Virginia Tech. You would think Virginia Tech playing Old Dominion, a team that's only been around for 10 years, the program, the game would have been there, a home game for Virginia Tech. So that was a little surprising. Bigger news and bigger concern for this Hokie team. Their quarterback, Josh Jackson, is out for probably the rest of the season. He broke his leg. I actually had the same injury in high school. A kid grabbed me from behind, snapped my leg in half. A little different from him, but same injury. It took me about 7 to 8 weeks to get back on the football field, and I pretty much was wearing a boot on my leg, couldn't move, just hindered to just being a pocket quarterback. So most likely not a great chance for him to be back this season. So we'll see, does Virginia Tech rebound, or do they continue to go downhill, especially losing their starting quarterback?
It's going to be an uphill battle for sure. Ito, you played against Old Dominion just a year ago, I believe. What's it like for a Conference USA team to get this victory? And maybe tell me a story about when Southern Miss played a top team and possibly would have knocked them off.
Oh, man, it's big for the conference, because some people are saying they should go away with the conference and not have it anymore. But I think it just goes to show that Conference USA teams they're relevant, And like my junior year, we beat Kentucky. The first game of the season, we went out there, beat Kentucky. They were up 35-7, I believe.
Is that right?
We came all the way back and won the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you look at North Texas, they beat Arkansas at Arkansas.
Arkansas's not good, though.
That's okay.
Hey, let's be real here.
Conference USA will take them where they can get them. There's no doubt about that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And we'll see if Southern Miss can keep the tradition alive and knock off Auburn this weekend inside Jordan-Hare. We'll touch on that. Yeah, believe it. Told you that earlier. We'll touch on that towards the end of the show. But going back to that Stanford and Oregon game, right? Oregon was up 24-7 at halftime, Aaron. You and I were texting. It was crazy. I mean, you called it. Justin Herbert, you said it on this show a week ago. You said he's the real deal. He's got what it takes to lead this Ducks offense to beat Stanford. It looked like that, and then situational football late in the game, Oregon really just fell flat on their face.
It kills me. And I know the new thing is in high school and college football is everyone wants to be spread offense. They want to get in the gun. But when you have the ball at the inch-yard line, you have a 6'6" quarterback, 245 pounds, get under center and just do a QB sneak. I mean, that's what changed the game. It's 24-7. They're driving down the field.
To put the game away.
They get to the inch-yard line. A little controversial call. Is he in? Is he not? Inch-yard line, snap the ball, goes over the quarterback's head. Stanford returns it for a 99-yard touchdown. Completely flipped this game. Momentum. We know how big the momentum is in college football. Took the crowd out of it. Stanford comes back. Some more situational football question marks later in the game really brought Stanford in. But overall, Oregon should have won this game. They should have won this game, and it shouldn't have been close. So I know you have a rookie head coach, but still no excuses. You're at home. You're winning big. You have a quarterback who you win that football game. He shoots up to probably top 2 or top 3 in the Heisman voting. And now I'm for sure still going to be a top 5, top 10 pick in the NFL draft next year. But that's just bad coaching. And that's just like I said, that's the way football is going now. Just take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes and practice under center. It's going to benefit you in college. It'll benefit you later on when you are in the NFL as well.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. It didn't work out for Oregon. If you're in that huddle, Ito, and granted, Oregon is in the shotgun 99% of the time, right, Aaron? I mean, when you're on the inch line, I mean, the nose of the football was essentially touching the goal line. When the quarterback gets that play call and he tells it to the huddle, what are you thinking as a running back? Like, man, can we just get under center and sneak this thing? Or are you sitting there going, we'll just do whatever the coach tells us to do?
Well, in college, we had situations where the quarterback would get under the center. So, I mean, as a running back, I would have been like, wow, why are we doing this? Because that'll put you probably 4 or 5 yards back in the end zone. So, I'd have been like, wow, but I mean, that was their coaching decision. So.
Would you ever override that as a quarterback? Bobo gives you the play call, you wouldn't do that.
First of all, that's why I committed to a pro-style offense.
That's right, smart man.
But it goes back to Seattle Seahawks versus the Patriots.
Yeah.
When they're at the ball, was it the 1 yard line, 2 yard line? Instead of just giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch, one of the most dominant running backs in the game, on first down, they decide to run a little RPO game. Russell Wilson throws it, interception, Patriots win the Super Bowl. Marshawn Lynch can't be taken down. I mean, if you give him the ball with 1 yard to go, you know it. I mean, he's just too powerful of a running back. It's the little details. Get under center, play smart football, give it to your playmakers, whether it's Herbert, 6'6" quarterback, 245, Marshawn Lynch in the NFL. Little things cost you championships. And this costs Oregon a chance to be the top of the Pac-12 and then maybe even their chance to go and be in the playoffs.
No, for sure. And a big thing that makes a big difference is holding on to the football. Ito, you would know this. Running back is your profession. There was a sequence towards the end of the game, inside 2 minutes. Oregon wanted to run the clock out, maybe punt, get rid of the football, call it a day. They start running the football outside the tackles. Stanford strips it out. They get a fumble, leads to a field goal, tie game, overtime. We know how it ends up. Do you just take a knee to punt? Because I would say no as a punter.
No.
Run the ball and hold on to it. Fourth down comes, we'll punt it and give the ball to Stanford and trust our defense.
It's just extra, and you could probably talk to a little bit more about being a running back. The situational football, make sure it's not about gaining yards at that point. You want to cut as much clock off as you can, but wrap it up. 2 hands. No messing around with one hand at that point. Point of contact, 2 hands, get down. Let's live to play another down and just keep that clock rolling. So talk about ball security a little bit.
During 4-minute drill.
Yeah.
You're not really worried about getting yards. I mean, you want to get the first down, but I mean, you're not really worried about it. In their situation, they weren't worried about it. So you knew it was a field position game, so you know they come in and try to script the ball. So just go down. Don't try to do extra. Just fall down, get what you can, and plan it off and make them go to field.
Yeah, that's a big time detail. It's certainly not a minor detail. Ball security, winning the turnover battle. That's how you win football games. It's really simple when it comes down to it, and that one cost Oregon big time. I feel like we could be talking about that game in January.
Yeah, we definitely will, but we talk about the details and ball security. As a quarterback in 4-minute drive, I went into every huddle, and I would say few things. One, stay in bounds.
Yes.
Right. Stay in bounds, stay in bounds, stay in bounds. If you're running the ball, stay in bounds. 2, don't score a touchdown. I know you won't get excited. We're going to score. Get your butt down at the 2-yard line. Keep the clock rolling. And 3, 2 hands the football. I mean, that's the first thing every quarterback should tell an offense if you run the 4-minute drive. 3 reminders, boys. 3, real quick, listen up. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, here's the play. Ready, break, let's roll.
Inbounds, get down, ball security. Let's keep this game in our hands. A team that does that really well, Aaron and Ito, Alabama. They're continuing to roll. They played a top 25 Texas A&M team in Tuscaloosa last week. We spoke about it here. We said, look, Texas A&M took Clemson to the fourth quarter, almost beat them, so we thought possibly this could be a close one. First play of the game for Texas A&M, interception. First play of the game for Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa, touchdown pass. Ooh. Can anybody even compete with these guys right now? They're just simply on another level.
No, listen, and there's not going to be a game the rest of the season. If you want to look at spreads, will there ever be a single-digit spread? I mean, this is going to be 15 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one left. I mean, you got to play at LSU, Mississippi State, but look what Kentucky did to Mississippi State. I'm still not sold on LSU. There is no weakness. There's not, and you.
I got it.
Okay, special teams. Yes. I don't care about special teams.
Big time.
You look at this offense this past weekend. The focus was Tua and these receivers, and all of a sudden the tight ends emerged for Alabama, and then they're throwing touchdowns to the tight ends, to the running backs. No weakness. This team is unstoppable. This will go down as possibly the best college football team of all time.
That was my believe it for last week. Murray just stole my believe it from a week ago when I told you that Alabama.
I believe that Drew knows what he's talking about.
One of the best football teams ever. But you look at Alabama, Ito, and it seems like they've got kind of that Big 12 offense paired with an SEC defense. It's something that the college football world has not seen to this point, and they're making it look easy every single week.
Man, they dominate, man. I don't see nobody beating this season. I really don't, because, man, they can run the ball, they can pass. They do what they want at will. Whenever they want to do it, they do it.
They certainly do it at will, but I would ask you this question. We have not seen Alabama's defense get tested yet. In preseason, Kirk Herbstreit on ESPN says, with Tua Tagovailoa, they will score 45 to 50 points a game. And I kind of sit there and go, yeah, right, that's crazy. Well, he's looking spot on up to this point, but nobody's challenged the defense.
Talking about?
My question's this. Let me get my question out first, okay? Let me get my question out first. I feel like the defense is not battle-tested for a four-quarter fight. Now, I need to see Alabama win a game in the fourth quarter before I sit here and say they will not be tested throughout the entire season. Now, will that happen? We don't know.
It's not going to happen, but they have faced elite offenses, or very good offenses. Let me see.
Who's elite?
Ole Miss. A&M's a very good offense.
A&M is a very good offense. I'll give you that.
You can't tell me Ole Miss with Tamu and those receivers are not a very good offense, and they shut them down.
Yes, they are very good.
They shut down A&M.
Absolutely. I need to see this
They are just
defense.
that much better. Okay, what offense can you say can match them right now?
Well, not only that, my first thought process would be the LSU game, because I believe it's in Baton Rouge.
But they're not going to get tested
I
offensively.
understand, but it could be a knockdown, drag-out fight like we've seen in the past. Nope. Now, can they pressure Tua Tagovailoa? That's the biggest question, Ito, because if they can pressure Tua and make him uncomfortable, which he has not looked up to this point, it could get interesting. Can you make him throw an early interception? Can you sack him and get a fumble? What can you do in order to make Alabama's defense step up? It's get after Tua, and it just hasn't happened yet. So I don't know.
Because they have five-star offensive linemen everywhere. I mean,
I don't think it's gonna happen, man. They got Alabama got Mack Wilson starting that middle linebacker, man.
He's real deal.
He's a real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the real deal, defending national champions not named Alabama, Central Florida, the Golden Knights, UCF. they've won, I think now, close to, 15 games in a row? I mean, they have not lost. More than that. 16 games in a row, I think it is. Do they have a legitimate shot to be one of the top 4 teams at the end of the season?
No.
No. Why not?
Listen, they are a very good football team. I watched them last season. I covered 2 of their football games. Mackenzie Milton is
Real deal.
The real deal. They just skill position they can hang. I think receivers, running backs, Killens at running back for those guys. I think they can hang and with SEC football week in and week out. But you can't tell me that offensive line and defensive line, if they had to play an SEC schedule, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC week in and week out, they would wither away.
Yeah.
They would. They would. They couldn't handle that. And I think that's what the committee is saying is, yes, they can get up for one game against Auburn, a beat up Auburn in a bowl game, but we don't think this team is that good where they can do it every single week. They haven't proven enough to us that they're the big boys. And if you want to put them against an Ohio State or an Alabama in the playoffs, when those teams are completely focused,
playing for a national champion,
no chance. They would get blown out of the water.
Aaron mentions maybe the line of trenches for a team like Central Florida probably isn't on that elite level quite yet. But if you took a Mackenzie Milton and put him on an offensive line like Alabama or Georgia, do you think his game would translate as well into the SEC coming from an American Athletic Conference?
I definitely think it will. Because, man, it all starts up front. You got those guys in front of you, they dominating. It's going to make everybody's job way easier, man.
What would your statistics have been if you had Alabama's offensive line last year?
If I did?
Yeah. Would have had a lot of fun, I'm sure. Speaking of teams having fun, new top 25 teams. Rankings obviously come out every Sunday and Monday, and there's quite a few of them, Aaron and Ito. I'm going to name them. I want you to tell me who your favorite is up to this point. Yep. Duke, back into the top 25. This is football, not basketball. Ranked number 22. Speaking of a basketball school, Kentucky, ranked number 17 in the top 25. Cal sneaks in at 24, and Texas Tech rounds it out at number 25. So who is your favorite team out of those 4 in week 4?
I like Texas Tech. I mean, the high-scoring offense, that's really awesome. But for me, the most impressive team this year is LSU, obviously, with their big wins, but Kentucky.
For sure.
Kentucky beating Florida, snapping that, 31-year streak, and then playing Mississippi State. I mean, everyone was high on Mississippi State. I was still questioned.
You did.
Yeah, I was like, I think that team's a 7-8 win team. Still good defensively. And Kentucky waxed them. I mean, 28-7. Benny Snell, 4 tutties. I mean, he is. He's a workhorse. You put him on Alabama. You put him on Georgia. You put him on any big name school.
Heisman
right now.
24 carries, 165 yards, and 4
now.
touchdowns. Did you ever have a stat line like that in college? I mean, that's some serious workload right there.
Couple times.
All right. Well,
it's against Mississippi State, whose defense was supposed to be one of the best in the SEC. He's gone off each and every single game, and then Terry Wilson at quarterback has been phenomenal. But I'm telling you, put him, he would be in New York, and he still might be. He keeps going like this, and Kentucky keeps winning. His name is going to slowly keep circulating, not just in the SEC, but people are going to start hearing about his name in these other conferences as well.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Cal in the top 25. They beat BYU, number 20 ranked BYU, at BYU earlier this season. Weren't getting a lot of love. They're taking care of business. Justin Wilcox out there in the Pac-12. Wonder how far they can take it. They're going to have to continue to take it on into week 5, and that's where we jump right now. A huge game that we're going to touch on in a bit. Notre Dame hosting Stanford. Notre Dame going to Stanford. And Notre Dame started Ian Book last week. It was his first game. He went 25-34, Aaron, 2 touchdowns. Is Brandon Wimbush done?
Oh, he's out. He's gone. He just couldn't. I mean, he is a 50% completion kind of guy. You can't expect to win the big games when your quarterback completes 50%. So I like Ian Book. I mean, he had some phenomenal throw. The one that really stuck out to me, it was at the goal line. He rolled left, was able to flip his hips, throw an accurate pass for a touchdown. You're like, wow. I mean, that's a tough throw for a quarterback. I mean, I'm athletic, and that's still, my hips would hurt trying to make the throw he made. I mean, it was an impressive thing to see. But now we know Notre Dame has a good defense.
Yeah.
The question mark is, could they get a quarterback just to manage games, just to be like a 60% kind of guy?
Brian Kelly's offense.
Yeah, and this, he can, but I still like Stanford in this game. I like Stanford. Their quarterback, obviously Bryce Love playing better, their offensive line playing better. and it's on the road. So I think this is going to be the week Notre Dame stumbles against a very good Stanford football team.
Another quarterback change in college football. Clemson this week named Trevor Lawrence their starting quarterback. They're going to bench Kelly Bryant, who took them to the college football playoff just a year ago. As a running back, when you're dealing with quarterback battles well into the season, what is that timing like? How does it impact the locker room?
You know, some guys, they kind of, some guys that have their favorite. They'll pick their favorite, but you shouldn't do that. You should support both guys, be behind both guys 100%. And it's just kind of weird, because one series, one quarterback might be in, then the next series, another one might be in. So it's just weird, just getting down the timing. Like
and speaking of the timing, though, and also, whether you have favorites or not, or if one of them's your roommate or not, at practice, are the players able to put their input towards the coaches, saying, "Hey, coach, obviously we know what's going on here." Do the coaches listen to that, or do you just stay hands off and let those guys do what they do?
No, you just stay hands off, come to work every day and do your job.
I like that. I'm kind of on that same thing right there. What do you say?
I think it's tough, but that's what the coaches get paid the big bucks for.
Mm-hmm.
You see these coaches in college now; they're getting paid $5+ million to make these decisions. And listen, Trevor Lawrence has shown enough to be the starting quarterback. He's gone out there and excelled in every single situation. From going in there, first pass versus A&M, throwing a touchdown to Georgia Tech this weekend, driving the team up and down the field. He had one pick. It was on a little miscommunication on a screen pass, but he has been spot on this whole year. I still would rather stick with the veteran, Kelly Bryant. He played extremely well versus A&M. I think he's played extremely well this entire season. He was banged up 2 weeks ago, probably kind of was part of their issue with facing Georgia Tech this weekend. Had a little chest bruise. So, listen, Kelly Bryant will play.
Yeah.
Dabo came out and said, he's too good of an athlete not to have some kind of package. It's going to be interesting to see going forward. We talk about the timing with the receivers and the running back. I think Trevor Lawrence has shown that he's worked hard enough this spring and this summer and this fall camp and early in the season that he's ready to take over the reins.
Kelly Bryant was injured a year ago at Syracuse. Syracuse going to Clemson this weekend, and Trevor Lawrence will be the starting quarterback. That'll be a fun game to watch. Georgia is going to host Tennessee this week. Aaron's favorite team, the Tennessee Volunteers. Georgia is a 32.5-point favorite. Unheard of in this rivalry. Tennessee looked absolutely abysmal a week ago against Florida. 6 turnovers. I changed the channel. I can't watch this
We
anymore.
knew it was going to be sloppy, though. We were thinking when Pruitt got to Tennessee, we knew the talent wasn't there. We knew this team was not very good. He wasn't inheriting like a Florida or Mississippi State.
Butch Jones left the cupboard dry.
It was so dry. But we thought this team would be better disciplined. More disciplined, play harder. When you're fumbling balls out of the end zone on your own and it's a touchback, that's the little stuff, the details we thought would be cleaned up. And they obviously haven't. So now you have a team that's still undisciplined, a team that can't do the little things right, and a team that's just not very good talent. And I don't think it's going to get cleaned up at all this season. This is going to be a team, you look at their schedule, they could be 2-10.
Oh, yeah.
Easily be 2-10 this year.
Think about this, though. They went 0-8 in the SEC last year. They go 0 again this year. That would be 0-16 in the SEC for a Tennessee program that, if you're not familiar with the Southeastern Conference, it is a historic volume. You're talking Peyton Manning, Johnny Majors. Peerless Price, like real deal hallmark brand in college football.
They're going to lose the next
0-16.
4. Kentucky should beat them, and then they have to finish the year off at Vandy, and Vandy waxed them last season.
It's crazy.
Tennessee is. I hate it.
Okay,
I hate it. I love it.
I
hate it.
know.
I don't know.
You're being validated. Your preseason predictions being validated.
validated.
You watch this game, though, and you see stuff going wrong. Fumbles, turnovers. They fumble it on the opening kickoff in the second half. And it seems like if you look around the sideline, this team's just throwing in the towel, man. What can happen next? This is terrible. Coach is kicking a whiteboard as a player. And obviously, we've all been a part of games like that. What is the leadership trait that you lean on in order to pick the entire team up and say, hey, guys, it's okay if we turn the ball over 3 times. We still have 35 minutes left of football, right? What is your message? Because you obviously were a leader at Southern Miss, to your team when stuff is not going right.
Let's go. Let's get it. Next play. That's the most important play, the next play.
Most important play is the next play. That's sage wisdom right there.
Well, Pruitt has to grow up as a head coach right now. This is the time when things are tough. We're going to see his true character. We're going to see the character of the football team, the players, and we're going to see a character of a brand new head coach this year. How does he handle when all of a sudden he goes from always winning, he's the head man and his team's awful and they're about to lose another 4 in a row. How does he handle that? How is he in the locker room? How is he on the field in practice? Because like you and I, we know we had a bad season. My freshman season was not great. We're 6-6. But we always knew Coach Rick would be the same man in that locker room. We knew when Coach Rick walked in Monday, team meeting, he was the same coach. Win, loss, tie, draw, bad season, good season, he was going to treat us the same way each and every week. How does Pruitt handle this now? Is he going to be the same kind of coach? Or is he going to go off and start kicking guys out, making guys do sprints, and just changing his personality? That's what I'm anxious to see going forward.
The thing that I'm interested to see, and it's obvious that Pruitt has a mile-long leash because Phil Fulmer tabbed him. That's his guy, all right? And if you look hard enough, you'll find fan bases already saying, fire him, get rid of him, on to the next guy. One thing that would worry me the most, Aaron and Ito, is if the Tennessee fan base became apathetic and they just didn't care anymore. It's been a long time. It's been a decade of losing pretty much. Look past that 1 year with Josh Dobbs and Butch Jones. I hope Tennessee can find it sooner than later, but it certainly doesn't look like that. One of the teams that's looking for a huge weekend, Penn State hosting Ohio State. They've already called for a whiteout, Ito. This stadium holds over 100,000. It'll be an electric atmosphere. Speaking from your experience, what's the most wild atmosphere that you ever had to play in college?
Probably LSU, Death Valley. It was crazy. Packed out, fans are wild. We pull up, hitting the bus and stuff, flipping us off. So it was crazy.
That is a very special one. You played there, I know for a fact.
No, I did not.
I thought you were there in 08.
No, I was not in 08. I was 09.
Okay.
Get it right.
Oh, yeah, 09.
Yes,
You guys
09.
beat them or lost to them at home. That's a long.
No,
I'm
we
old,
did it.
people.
Get it together.
I'm old.
We lost LSU SC championship game my
That's
sophomore
right.
year. We beat LSU my senior year at home. That was the 44-41 game.
Correct.
Yes.
2013.
But for me, I would say, Tennessee was always tough, but South Carolina, man, especially when they had Clowney on the edge, when you can get home field advantage, then you got Jadeveon on the outside and he's getting to get off. You want to talk about, there's one picture where he's hurdling Keith Marshall. I'm looking to my left. I got Jadeveon, who's 6'5". He's in the air over my running back. I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die.
End it.
This is the end of my life. When he can get a step on your tackle because it's so loud, it's noisy, sandstorms rolling, they got the towels going. It's a tough place to play, especially we played them at night too, like at 7 o'clock. It's a fun place, but it is a pain in the butt for opposing quarterbacks. So that was probably, of all the places for me, that was the toughest.
Yeah, I'd have to say Jordan Hare, Auburn, when we played them, Aaron, the year that they won the national championship and Cam Newton won the Heisman, that was an absolutely electric atmosphere, and they took advantage of it because it was not good for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Good
in
first half,
2010 that year.
We
first
were
half.
winning, though. We
You
were
can
up
hold on to
21-7.
that. You can hold on to that first half.
And then my
right?
sternum broke and my chin was bleeding everywhere.
All right, let's go to our picks for Week 5. A good slate of football games, and we just talked about it, so let's figure out who the winner is going to be. Number 4, Ohio State, going to State College to take on the number 9, Penn State Nittany Lions. Ohio State's a slight favorite at 3.5 points. Nick Bosa out this game, out for a few weeks. Dwayne Haskins.
I go Urban.
Tell me about it. Urban Meyer name's what? He's out for a couple weeks.
He's out for a couple weeks, and then Nick Bosa's dad comes and said, whoa. My son's going to be out for probably till mid-November here. So this is a little bit more serious, and obviously he's thinking about, hey, the NFL,
yeah, look
my
what
son's
his brother
future.
did. He might not play another snap at Ohio State.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is go out there too early, re-aggravate something, have to have a surgery again, and then all of a sudden NFL teams are questioning, is this kid healthy? Is this going to be year after year after year? I agree with the dad. You got to take care of your son here. Stay out until you're healed and you're ready to go back. This team will still move on and play really well without you.
All right, so here are the matchups here. James Franklin versus Urban Meyer. Dwayne Haskins versus Trace McSorley. I think it's pretty simple who you're going to pick.
Oh, it's Ohio State all day. I'm not a fan of McSorley. I'm not a fan. I like him. I think he's a very good college football player. I'm not – everyone was on him about, okay, this kid's going to win the Heisman. He's this, he's that, he's that. Lost his OC, lost his starting running back, and just hasn't been as electric as he was last season. Dwayne Haskins, you can't tell me you turn on the film and you're not like, holy smokes.
Heisman finalist as of right now, for
right
sure.
now, 100%. Yeah. He is elite in every aspect of his game. Heisman finalist, top 10, top 15 pick next year in the NFL draft. This Ohio State team is too good too good. They're going to win this game versus Penn State.
What do you think? Ohio State going to Penn State?
Ohio State, man, they playing very dominant right now, and I think they'll come up with the win.
Yeah, I'd have to
on the
say the
road.
same as well. I just don't think Trace McSorley can take over a football game, which is what he'll
Yes.
need to do to beat an Ohio State defense that has playmakers all over the field. So take Ohio State there. That's a great top 10 matchup. Another one is number 7 Notre Dame going to number 8 Stanford. A really good rivalry here, and Notre Dame coming in as a favorite. 5.5-point favorite.
Ooh, that's a lot.
KJ Costello, Bryce Love, that offensive line at Stanford, and you're in Palo Alto as well. I think this is a sucker line right here.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. And the fact that Stanford just won that game versus Oregon. I mean, they are, you win a big game like that, you are juiced, man. You're like, let's get back into this locker room.
Yeah.
We got another big game next week. We're, now the favorites to win this conference and be in the playoffs. These guys are excited. They've been playing better, especially the running game. We know what their defense can do. I like it. I mean, Ian Book had a great game last week. Now he gets to play on the road against a very good defense. I like Stanford. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, obviously, but I think Stanford's going to pull it out.
Notre Dame, Stanford, who do you think is going to win?
Stanford. I think new quarterback for Notre Dame, I think he cracks. Bryce Love goes crazy. And Arcega White, I think he has a big game too.
Yeah, that's a really good call right there. I would agree with you. I think Ian Book's going to have a tough time. It's not the biggest stadium, but it certainly will be hostile. It's going to be tough to throw the football game, the entire book, at him and say, take care of it on the road for us. In the SEC, South Carolina traveling to new top 25 team number 17, Kentucky. Kentucky's a favorite. Things are changing in Lexington. Terry Williams, Benny Snell, Mark Stoops has got it going on, but Bob Shoop is the defensive coordinator there. Don't forget, he was the defensive coordinator at Tennessee a year ago. Things weren't that great, so I don't know if he has what it takes to just shut down Deebo Samuel and Jake Bentley.
It'll be fun. I mean, this is the battle.
And Rico Dowdle. They got a good little three-headed monster.
This is the battle for the number 2 team in the SEC East right now. I mean, this is a big game for South Carolina. I mean, everyone picked them as, and I know I did, in that media vortex you love to say, to be, have a chance to compete with Georgia. Obviously, that game didn't turn out like most people thought, with Georgia just waxing them. But this Kentucky team's for real.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. And my biggest concern right now is Jake Bentley for South Carolina. Still like him. He's having a good year, but he hasn't shown me that he's improved from last season. He for me, he's kind of the same player. And you expect a veteran quarterback, to take that next step, especially getting Deebo Samuel back as a receiver who missed most last season. He's the same guy, which is kind of concerning to me a little bit, watching him and his development and not seeing much from that department. So I like Kentucky, man. They're rolling hot. Defense has been playing extremely well. Offense, you say, with Benny Snell, Terry Wilson. I like Kentucky at home versus South Carolina.
You beat Kentucky when you were in college. Do you think the Wildcats are for real in 2018, or is South Carolina going to take care of business?
I think South Carolina will come through. I'm just not believing the hype with Kentucky. I played them twice in college, so I don't think they can pull it out this week. I think.
I think that South Carolina is going to find a way to stop Benny Snell and put the game in Terry Williams' hands. So I will take South Carolina here. And you mentioned Stanford beating Oregon, now coming back home, ready to roll, a disciplined Stanford team with David Shaw as their head coach. I think this might be the opposite for Kentucky. They're coming off 2 huge wins. Count the Florida one, and then last week versus Mississippi State. Yes, they are coming home, but these guys have never experienced success like this. I think they're going to fall off here, and I like South Carolina to beat the Wildcats in Lexington this weekend. Top 25 matchup, number 20 BYU is going to Washington, number 11 Washington. And Washington's a huge favorite, 17.5 points. They beat Arizona State last week. BYU, this is kind of disrespectful to them.
I think it is, too. I think Washington, offensively with Browning, he's another quarterback, too. You expect a fourth-year quarterback to make those next strides, and every time I turn the film on him, he's throwing a silly interception here and there. It's like, you don't make those mistakes as a senior, and he's doing it right now. I think he's trying to do too much. I mean, his skill position, especially at the receiving position, has been really down these past 2 seasons. I still like Washington to win this game. I think defensively they're very talented. I still like Browning back at the quarterback position and the very good running back. But 17 points is a lot of points. I think this is going to be a single-digit Washington hasn't proven to me that they can pull away from teams this season, especially a good BYU team.
Yeah, BYU's good. And before I ask you for your pick, BYU's mascot, the Cougar, I don't know if you guys saw this. I learned this.
Oh, man.
Not allowed to know who the Cougar is until the end of the school year, right? So this guy is like this secret setup. He's a really good dancer, does all these crazy tricks. Did you see this?
Yeah, the
so
helmet
he does
fell
an
off.
acrobatic flip during halftime of the football game. In midair, his mascot helmet flies off. Ito, he hit the pad and literally ducked like he in the Secret Service came over and
jumped on him, covered his head up.
It was wild. I've never seen anything like it.
I was like, is he concussed? Did he hit his head? Is he bleeding?
They said they just had
is
to
he
hide
dying?
his identity.
I was like,
I mean, they didn't even ask if he was okay. They literally jumped on top of him.
Jumped on him and then put the helmet back on real quick.
Wow.
It was crazy.
It's
so
not
with
as
that
bad as
said,
the mascot with the T-shirt gun, though.
Oh,
had it pointed the wrong
Colorado.
way. Ooh.
No bueno.
We've
Not
had some
good at all.
mascot issues. They got to clean it up. They got to go back, watch the film, get it together.
Yeah, hold them to a higher standard.
I'm counting out all mascots. Get your stuff together
There
right
we go.
now.
There
it's
we
embarrassing.
go. BYU, Washington. Who's your pick?
Washington.
All right.
I believe Browning, he gets going. Gaskin has a big day. That defense, they got a real solid defense. And BYU, I don't think they really can put up points. So.
No, I would agree. I think Washington, too many playmakers on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, but
you're
taking
laying
the points.
too.
You're taking the
He's
points.
laying the points. All right.
Woo.
You know what? I'll ride with Ito here. I am
Wow.
laying the 17.5. This will be a big time
Well, this is
victory
good
in
because
Seattle.
I got to catch up to you on games
Yeah,
this
you
season,
do.
so I'm happy you're taking the points.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Game of the week, at least at this table. Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles, traveling to
Upset.
Auburn, Alabama, inside Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn's a big favorite, but look, we like Southern Miss here. And before I ask you who I think Southern Miss's most famous alumni is, not named Ito Smith, you might think Brett Favre. No, it's Ray Guy, the greatest punter of all time. So, Hall of Famer, NFL and college. Shout out Ray Guy. Southern Miss, are they ready to do it, Ito? Are they going to take down Auburn? You mentioned it early in the show. Remind everybody.
Southern Miss to the top. We going to the top, baby. This weekend, the Plains, we're gonna make it happen.
I love it.
No chance.
SMTTT, what do you think, Aaron?
Zero. I mean, my biggest concern for this game is not even a concern. Can Auburn somehow find a running game? You know, you think of Auburn and their head coach, Gus, and always run. They have no identity running the football right now. The offensive line, the running backs, they haven't. So maybe this game they find a way to run the ball, get that juju going in the right direction, because they're going to need it for the rest of the season.
They're going to need it, and you took the words right out of my mouth. Auburn does not have an identity on offense right now. And if I was Gus Malzahn, which I'm not, I look at Jarrett Stidham throwing the ball and say, let's build around him. I understand you have to run the ball in the SEC, but I do like what Jarrett Stidham can do with the football. Thankful that you have shown me that and opened my eyes that that kid is a real deal quarterback. So I'll take Auburn here. Ito, hopefully you're right, and we'll just replay this clip a million times and go viral. That would be ideal. Thanks so much for coming in with us this week. Again, we are at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for hosting us here. If you're in Atlanta, you've got to come. I say it every week because it's true. This is the epicenter of the college football game. Be sure to check it out when you're in town. This has been CampusLore Live. Thanks for coming.